Hello, here is lesson 8 from your daily math entry activities. So here we go. The number 1 says find the product 35 times 14, which you might be a little worried about. 35 times 14. Maybe you had some trouble. You haven't seen double digit times double digit yet on these this year. So you could, of course, do 14 groups of 35 or 35 groups of 14. You could just add them all up. I'm going to show you another way to do it. So one way we can do it is to take 35 and break this into 30 and 5. And I put this above a box with four smaller boxes inside. And I'm going to take the 14 and break that into 10 and 4. So I'm breaking these up by place value, right? Now I can just multiply each part, kind of like a multiplication chart. We put the answers where the numbers would meet. So 10 times 30, 1 times 3 is 3, and I've got 3 tens and 1 10, and 10 times 10 is 100, so I'm going to have 3 hundreds. 10 times 5, that's 5 tens, is 50. 30 times 4, well, 4 threes is 12, but if I'm doing tens, I'm going to have 120. And then 4 times 5 is just 20. Now, of course, I can add these all up. Let's see. 300 plus 120 is 420. 50 plus 20 is 70. And I've got to add those. Altogether, that is 490. 490. Now, of course, if you ask a parent, grandparent, even older brother or sister, they would have another way to multiply. There are lots of ways to do all the math we do. There is no one way that's better or worse. We like to look at lots of ways. So if you have somebody at home that does it a different way, great, learn another way. One of our big ideas here in 4th grade is that there are multiple pathways. We're sort of exploring math and finding different ways to get there. We've got a whole bunch of different ways and routes and paths there. So whatever way, we want to know lots of different ways. And the important thing is that you can explain your thinking, whatever way you happen to be doing it. Sorry, that's a little bit glary, but as long as you can explain your reasoning. Do you have a because to go with why you did something? And in the end, it should all make sense. So math should make sense. You should be able to explain what you're doing. And there are often multiple pathways for how to do any given problem. Okay, let's do number 2. We're going to add these fractional values. A fourth plus 1/4. Now, we've talked earlier about how a visual will help. So I drew 2 circles and I divided them into fourths. And let me see, I will shade in a fourth of this one and a fourth of this one. And when I draw these pictures, it's pretty easy to see that if I added this fourth with this fourth, I just end up with 2 of these fourths, right? And I could even put them together into one circle. I've got this one and this one. And so my answer here is 2 fourths, which when you just look at the numbers, you might have come up with 2 eighths because 4 and 4 is 8. But when we look at the picture, we can see, well, those 2 fourths, this fourth and this fourth, just makes 2 fourths. And you might have noticed that I could combine this and also say that this is a half. Moving on to number 3, when you see the word difference, find the difference between 2 numbers. Difference means that you are going to subtract. So your answer to a subtraction problem is the difference. So I made my columns here to line these all up so that I keep everything straight. Remember, you can just turn your notebook paper sideways to get these columns. And now I'm just going to subtract by place value. 9 minus 5 is 4. 6 minus 0 is 6. 7 minus 1 is 6. And now I realize that I have, what mistake have I made here? Probably you are watching this and thinking, oh, the mistake is you put the lesser number on top, right? 4,000 is more than 3,000. So what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to erase all this and write this number write these numbers again, but with the number that's larger, the greater number on top. 4,105, 3,769. Okay. Oh, that one was so nice and easy. There was no regrouping. But you can see that it didn't work to do that in the end. Okay, so 5 minus 9. I can't take the 9 away from just the 5 without getting a negative number. And so that means regrouping. There's nothing here to regroup with, so I'm just going to go all the way over to here. Make this a 0. Bring that next door. Now I'm going to regroup from that 10, make it a 9. Okay, there we go. 15 minus 9 is 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. Oh, I've got this problem again. I'm going to regroup one last time. 10 minus 7 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. So 336. Okay. Number 4, 4 times 43. I could just add 4 43s, or I could do the simpler version of what we did up above. I'm going to make a smaller box for this one. I only need one level. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16, but these are 4 tens, so I'm going to have 16 tens, which is 160. Add it all up, and I get 172. Okay, 181 divided by 4. I bet this is one that kind of stumped some of you. So division, we'll be working a lot more on division. It's okay if you're a little confused about division right now. 181 divided by 4 is asking how many 4s does it take to get close to 181. So how many 4s are there? And if we're asking how many 4s, we could also be saying 4 times what equals 181. How many 4s are there? That's the question. There are, again, lots of ways to do division like this. I'm just not even going to use a method except to play around with some numbers. I know I need a lot of 4s. And I'm just going to kind of guess some easy ones. What if it was 100 4s? Well, 100 4s would be 4 hundreds, 400. So I know it's way less than 100, okay? Because I only need 181. Well, what if I did half of that? Half of 100 is 50. So 4 50s, 50, 100, 150, 200. That's getting closer. It's close. 200 is pretty close to 181. So 50 is a closer one, but not quite. What's a little less than 50? What about 40? What would 4 40s be? So I know I just did 4 times 40 was 160. So if 4 times 40 equals 160, I only have how many more to get to 81? 160. Isn't it just 20 more to get to 180? Plus 20 more would be 180. How many 4s does it take to make 20? Well, it's 4 5s to make 20. So altogether, I've got 45 4s, and I got to 181. So where's that extra 1? There's 4 times what equals 181? Well, this is where we have our remainder. So what we are going to say is 4 times 45 equals 180, and then I'd need to add one more to get 181. Division-wise, what this means is 181 divided by 4 equals 45, and there's still that 1 left over, and we usually call that the remainder, that 1 that we couldn't quite get to when we put all our 45s together. So I know some of you are probably hoping to see the long division or something, and we will get to those methods, but it's really important to really understand like what's happening with division before we get into all the exact procedures. We're not looking just for the answer here. If I only cared about the answer, I would just ask my phone, right? Let's see if my phone will do it. What's 181 divided by 4?
It's 45.25.
So my phone gave me a decimal. I still have the 45 instead of a remainder 1. It says 0.25. You'll learn more about that later on how to change that remainder into a decimal. But I'm more concerned with what's happening right now. So I want to think of this as how many 4s are there? And one way to do that is to just multiply till we get there. Okay, number 6, very last one. Louisa bought a piece of land in the country with 4 equal sides. Each side measures 50 kilometers. What is the total length around Louisa's piece of land? So it's a square and it's all the same. So each side, even though not labeled, is 50 kilometers. And we want to know the total length around. So if she walked from here to here, that's 50. Then she walks another length, another 50. There's 100. 150, 200. So the total length around is 200. And the math term for this, which you'll want to start trying to remember, is perimeter. That total length around any shape is perimeter. Well, there you go. Lesson 8. I think that one was a little bit longer. I remember to go back and pause, rewatch, think about some of this. There were some different things happening in this one, and maybe it went by kind of fast. Go back, rewatch it. Remember, your job is to learn, understand, make sense of things. If you don't understand it right away, watch it again. It really does help. And if you still don't get it, give us a call. We would love to explain it. All right. Thank you and goodbye.